What is going on, everybody? Quancredible here, back with the reviews for Four Nights of Apocalypse. We have chapter 44, which is going to be the last chapter of the year. Four Nights has had a really good year, honestly. For its first year of being out, I feel like it's done really well. Make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more Four Nights of Apocalypse content. Just because it's the last chapter obviously does not mean that I'm not going to do more Four Nights videos, so make sure you subscribe if you have not already. But this chapter was really interesting because it went there are some things in the chapter that happened that I seen coming, but there were some, like, it kind of went in different directions than I thought it would. So we have the aftermath of the fight with Elgin, or Elgin, I forget what his name actually is, but the aftermath, Percival's healing himself as well as Donnie, and Donnie is like, Nanson's, if you had this awesome medicine, you should have just gave it to us. But Nanson's is basically like, I hadn't really tested it yet. It was my first time using it, so I do not know the side effects. So it's a little bit too dangerous for you to use. And Donnie wasn't immediately in the room when Percival was getting experimented on, but I wouldn't just outright try experimental drugs. I mean, Donnie doesn't understand the risks here of what Nanson's drugs could potentially do to you if they do not work. Nanson's is at an advantage because Nansen can take whatever he wants and essentially not die since his body can neutralize poisons, but other people are not so lucky. So the side effects could potentially be way worse for a regular person than they would be for Nanson's, just because of how his magic works. And of course, in this moment, Nanson's is starting to experience some of the side effects. He is like has extreme fatigue. We even see in this panel here that he's like kind of shaking a little bit. And it's interesting because Percival can heal people, but I'm assuming Percival's ability to heal doesn't give you your energy back. It kind of just heals your wounds. So like almost like if you couldn't do something because you were injured, it doesn't necessarily give you your energy back. Like he's just healing the actual wound itself. But it's after all this that we get some interesting moments for Percival's character, because Percival is genuinely concerned about Nanson's, which isn't the interesting part, but it's Percival saying that Nanson should have tested it on him first since he's supposed to be his guinea pig. Meaning Percival actually took that extremely literally and wanted Nanson's to actually test drugs on him first, which is interesting. That, like, I guess it does fit within Percival's character, but it was just kind of interesting to see that he really did take that literally. And then we also see Sin brings it up that, yeah, it's like, Percy, can you explain this? And it's in the last chapter we've seen Elgin essentially about to fall to his death, but Percival did save him. Like, Percival sent his mini Percivals to stop him from falling. And Percival's like, killing people is bad. Like, you shouldn't kill. He's all like innocent about it. And of course, Sin is like, you can't just, save your enemy. These guys are actually trying to kill you. Like, this being this nice will be your downfall, essentially. Like, you can't do that. And this part of Percival's character is no shocker to me. Like, I already knew Percival was never big on killing anyone. If you look at everyone Percival's ever fought, he's never tried to kill anyone. He just mostly tries to stop people, not necessarily kill them. So I'm not too shocked on that one. And honestly, I feel like Percival will probably stay like this. I don't see Percival really turning into more of like a killer, like how Meliodas did when he kind of lost his emotions. He became more of like, he became much more cold-hearted. Or even, I guess, a lot of the seven deadly sins kind of understand that they have to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. But Percival, I don't see him ever truly becoming like that, which is funny because he is the Knight of Death. So you would think that he would have, so you would think in the future there's going to be some moment here with that. But after this, Percival does use his magic to fly them through the forest at a extremely fast speed. And Donnie is like, why didn't we just do this first? But Sin and Nanson's both realize that this takes up way too much of Percival's magic, and it makes sense because Percival isn't really experienced with using his magic. Because when you think about the overall timeline of Four Nights of Apocalypse, it truly hasn't been that long since like Percival has gotten his magic. It's been like a week, 2 weeks tops. Like, it really hasn't been a super long time. So Percival's not experienced with using it all like that. So just transporting like 4 people, Sin, and a horse is it's quickly through a forest. That's a lot of magic drain. And Percival himself is not experienced enough to know, like, to be able to manage and know how much magic he has to do things and to not tire himself out, because Nanson's even notices that Percival is already slowing down. But of course, they are being pursued by not one but 2 of the members of the Dark Talismans, which is very interesting because I thought we were going to do 1v1s, like one at a time, then another one, and then another one, and then like another one, kind of until we got done. But we're actually doing 2 at once, which is interesting because it kind of shows that maybe Nakaba's trying to like go through this quickly, like not take a super long time on this, which, I mean, I'm not mad at that if he wants to get through it quicker. I mean, it would be really interesting to see how two of the Dark Talismans at once are going to fight against Percival's group. Giant, when he's able to keep up with them on his horse, I believe it's Selpanir. I'm not good at like those kind of names, but I think that's what it is. It was given to him by Arthur. I'm assuming it's something similar to Ard, where Ard had Ceranos, so Arthur granted him this where Arthur has granted him this mythical beast also, just to like help him out on his missions and stuff. So the horse is able to keep up with them, and the girl, and she has a staff that is able to bring forth the 4 elements. So she uses that to kind of corner and trap Percival, or not really trap him, but she puts up a sand wall and Percival kind of runs into it. I mean, he does protect everybody so they don't take damage, but it does effectively stop them. It's funny because this staff kind of reminds me of Vivian from 7 Deadly Sins, because I know she had that big like quartet magical attack that had like the 4 elements on it. It kind of just reminded me of her a little bit. But from here, after they fall to the ground with Percival, you know, like I said, protecting everybody, they are confronted by these 2 members of the Dark Talismans. And this fight is going to be very interesting because we see Percival struggling to get it. Like, Percival's tired. Like, he's used a lot of magic from the previous fight with Elgin, and then flying and then protecting everybody. He's used a lot of magic all at once in like a very short time. So Percival is kind of fatigued, as well as Nansen's isn't going to be too big of a help in this fight because he's also fatigued from the side effects of the drug he took. So the only people that are in full health would be Annie and Donnie, and of course Sin is there too. We see Sin right there in the back in the panel. So it's going to be, this fight is going to be interesting because with Elgin they had the element of surprise, like they had prep time almost, but this one they were ambushed, so they didn't really have time to really prepare a proper strategy. And they're essentially down, like 2 of their members are like at half strength or potentially even lower. So I'm not for sure how they're going to work through this, with Annie and Donnie being the ones that are probably going to have to lead the charge. I really do hope through this we get like more on Donnie's ability and what he's actually doing, because like people say it's floating, but it hasn't been like confirmed what his magic is doing, so we might get that in this fight. And then there's also the strong possibility that Sin may have to step in and do something, because as we know, Sin did somehow stop Ironside's attack on Sustania, so maybe Sin can call on some more forest friends, or maybe he shows us more of his true abilities or something along those lines, because with just on paper, with a tired Percival and a tired Nansen's and Donnie and Annie, they should not be able to beat these people. So just very interested to see how Nakaba writes himself out of this one, because his characters are definitely in some trouble. But this chapter was really dope. I give it like 6.5. Like, it was just cool. It's a nice transitionary chapter. It flowed well from the last fight to setting up the next fight. We might even get all of the fight in probably 2 chapters. He might finish it all in 1, but I feel like it's probably going to be 2. Let me know down below what you guys think about the chapter. How do you guys feel about how this fight is going to match up? Like, how do you think this fight is going to go, I guess, is one thing I'm more curious about. Let me know if you guys think Sin is going to get involved, because it's looking like he's going to have to. It's looking like Donnie and Annie aren't going to be able to, like, carry this fight. It's looking like Sin is going to have to get in on it, or if they just give Percival a new ability. That's always the thing, since hero type magic is just crazy broken. But yeah, I really just want to know what direction you guys think it's going to go, and how you guys think the next chapter is going to happen, as well as like what would you guys rate it like out of 10. But aside from that, make sure you guys like the video, as well as subscribe to the channel for more 4 Nights of Apocalypse content. This is the last chapter of the year, but more content will still continue. Aside from that, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all in my next video.